My name is Lisa, a single woman currently living with my parents. I used to live alone, but a few years ago, my mother had an accident and suffered lasting effects in her leg. My father has already passed away, so I started living with my mother in a barrier-free apartment as a result. I have a younger sister named Delaney, but just a little before we started living together.
What? You're still so young. Living with parents at your age is just not done. And what's with parents relying on their kids? Isn't that just totally not okay for a parent?
How can you say that? Ugh. It's fine, I'll live with Mom, so don't worry about it. Due to such exchanges with Delaney, we had become somewhat estranged. However, since she started dating a man who's a company president, she began to boast about it quite often. Then, one day.
Hello, big sis. Guess what? I'm getting married to a president. Great, right?
What? That's quite sudden.
Well, 3 months is enough, right? It's Ira, the one I've been talking about.
I see. Congratulations, Delaney. When's the wedding?
It's too much hassle, so we're not having one. Just registering the marriage and living together in luxury.
I see. Oh, should I put Mom on the phone?
I'll tell her myself later. And hey, don't you go telling her on your own, okay? Bye.
Delaney just reported her marriage and then hung up the phone. Given her personality, I thought she would have a ceremony, so I was a bit puzzled, but I didn't dwell on it. A few days after this call. Mom, have you heard from Delaney and her husband?
They suddenly came over to introduce him. I was so surprised. They said they aren't having a wedding ceremony, so I just gave them a congratulatory gift.
Coming over without any notice. Well, that's typical of Delaney. Was there anything unusual?
Well, her husband mentioned he's a president. Oh, and they seemed surprised by the size of this room and the other rooms.
I wondered what a president's husband would find so intriguing about our modest house. But I didn't want it to become a source of mockery, so I decided not to dwell on it. A little while later.
Hello? Can we talk for a bit?
What is it this time?
When I visited the other day, I realized you live in a surprisingly nice place. I was thinking, since it's a good opportunity, Ira and I wouldn't mind moving in with you.
Moving in? But you're newlyweds, shouldn't you live by yourselves? And doesn't a president have a nicer house?
That's true, but what about when we have a baby? It's better to have someone around to help, right?
Listen. Mom has trouble walking, she can't be expected to support you.
Anyway, we'll come over soon to talk. Bye.
After the call, I sincerely hoped that this wouldn't lead to any trouble. A few days later.
I heard from Lisa. I can't play with Delaney's child or take care of them. If they like the layout of our place, there's a vacant room on another floor. Why don't they live there?
What? Why would you say something so cold, Mom?
Mother-in-law, Delaney and I will fully support you as family. It's safer for a family to live together, after all.
Delaney and Ira approached my mother directly about moving in with us. Despite my mother expressing that supporting them would be difficult, the conversation went as follows.
That's fine, isn't it?
Lisa's working and doing all the housework. It's already a lot for her.
Big sis does all the housework? We usually have a maid, so I'm surprised.
Well, I do housework and help out instead of paying rent. I don't find it particularly hard.
So, you're not contributing money to the house? Since you're single, why don't you move out and find a man? Living off your parents like a true NEET.
I work and do housework, so I'm not a NEET.
But you don't contribute financially, you're living off Mom's pension, right? If you're earning, you should be contributing to the house. Living here for free is just shameless.
Lisa's doing her best.
Forget about Mom, you should start living independently.
Living alone would be easier for you, so please do that.
See. Now get ready and move out quickly.
To avoid further issues, I agreed to Delaney and Ira's words. I reassured my worried mother by telling her something that seemed to comfort her. After explaining what Delaney and Ira needed to know, I left my family home and resumed living alone. A month later, when certain preparations were complete, I received a call from Delaney.
Hello, big sis, why haven't you paid the electricity bill? And I got a call about some loan, what's that about?
If you're living there, you should handle the loan payments, I told you that before moving. And why should I pay the utility bills? I don't live there anymore.
But you were living off Dad's inheritance and Mom's pension, right? It's strange that no money is being deposited in the account.
Huh? I was the one who bought that apartment and paid the living expenses.
What? That makes no sense. Come here and explain.
After ending the call, I immediately went to my family home. Delaney and Ira were making a fuss.
Explain this so I can understand. There's no way you could afford such a luxury apartment.
Exactly. It's impossible for just an ordinary employee.
Well, I do investments and side businesses. I have assets worth about 500 million yen. What about it?
What?
I told you to pay for living expenses and such, but you weren't listening.
You said you were doing housework instead of paying rent.
That's because Mom was contributing money, so it felt like that. Of course, I've been saving that money for Mom's use.
What? Then use that money to pay now.
If you have savings, you can pay for a month, right?
You both don't think I've done nothing for the past month, do you? Ira, isn't there a problem with embezzlement in your company?
Who told such a lie? That's nonsense.
Don't make up such absurd accusations.
It's not a lie. There's plenty of evidence. I'm Noah, a detective and Lisa's friend.
Also, while Delaney and Ira were out having fun, I was the one supporting Mom at home. So, it turns out, you two have been lying all along.
What are you doing here? Don't just barge in.
Right. This is a family matter. Outsiders should stay out.
The house is in Lisa's name, so it's not just barging in. And I've recorded everything you two have said to me.
In fact, during the past month, I had asked my friend Noah, who is a detective, to investigate Delaney and Ira. The investigation revealed quite a lot of unsavory details. I had informed my mother in advance, so we had solid evidence from our conversations. You've been saying the worst things to our parents and now approaching them with financial motives. Don't you feel ashamed?
I didn't say anything.
You did. You only talked about yourself when discussing moving in. I understand wanting to have fun while you're young, but a family should help each other.
You said you didn't want to live with them, right? That's why Lisa stayed and helped out. And you're targeting the house, and clearly relying on your parents for living expenses.
But I'm Mom's child, so it's totally fine to rely on her, right? There's nothing wrong with that since we're family.
Besides, if we can save on rent, it's convenient for us.
That's just convenient for you. Delaney, you told me to live independently, remember? I'll return those exact words to you.
The one who's not independent is you. And your husband, claiming to be a president, doesn't seem to have the capability to lead people.
What's wrong with that? He's still a president.
That's fine. But a husband who can't live on his own salary is a no-go for me if I were a woman.
If Delaney is married to a president, she should be supporting Mom, right? Whether you send money or not, it's wrong for Delaney to rely on Mom. Delaney and Ira had been relying entirely on my mother for the past month. They hadn't paid attention to what I explained when I left the house. They mistakenly thought that the mortgage and utility bills were being withdrawn from my mother's bank account. However, in reality, I was the one making the payments.
If the mortgage isn't paid, we can't stay here. You have money, so you should pay it right now, big sis.
At least cover it for now, like a temporary loan.
What do you mean temporary? You're planning not to pay her back, aren't you?
No, that's not true.
How will someone with no money repay? Stop lying so obviously.
What's with this guy? He says he's investigated, but he might be wrong.
Noah is a really capable detective. Haven't you seen him on TV?
Oh. Now that you mention it, I think I've seen him somewhere.
Just because he's on TV doesn't mean he can be arrogant.
Where exactly do you see me being arrogant? I'm so humble. You guys should plan things more carefully. Being a president might sound attractive, but it's just a facade.
It's fine to show off, but only if you can cover for it yourself. Always boasting about being a president. It's embarrassing to watch.
Even Mom is taking Lisa's side? That's so unfair.
Mother-in-law, we were living together harmoniously, right?
Don't be ridiculous. You're out late on weekends and always out playing on holidays. It's Lisa who has been supporting the household.
I was the one who changed the light bulb at the entrance. It's already clear you weren't supporting Mom.
You're just bluffing.
I've investigated. No matter what excuses you make, it won't work.
Delaney and Ira made various excuses, but none of them were convincing. My mother seemed to have lost patience with their irresponsible lifestyle. Noah's occasional visits to check on me had made it clear that the two had done nothing to help. However,
We did help Mom a little.
I did too. Like replacing the toilet paper when it ran out, or taking out the trash occasionally.
Right. We even put away the washed dishes.
And who do you think washed those dishes?
Mom, right? Surely she can wash dishes.
don't be ridiculous. The whole point of living together is for Delaney to help.
Lisa did all the cleaning.
Mom was the one cleaning the shelves.
I can handle dusting with a mop. You two really did nothing after moving in here. Delaney just lazed around every day. Get it together.
It's fine to have fun, but do your responsibilities first.
You know about all these little things.
Detectives are persistent.
That's my job. Say whatever you want.
Then we'll start doing things properly from now. That should solve it, right?
At your age, it's wrong to be scolded by others. Stop babbling nonsense and acting spoiled.
Exactly. There's no point in living together like this.
You two have no right to stay in this house. Pack your things and leave.
Even my usually gentle mother and Noah spoke harshly to Delaney and Ira. Although Ira is a president, he doesn't have much money, and his pride is quite high.
We're not leaving. A high-class apartment like this suits a president like me. This is where I belong.
Exactly. And it's suitable for me as the president's wife, too.
I already told you this place is in my name. Do you still think you can stay under these circumstances?
What? We can't stay here?
Of course not. You've been living the opposite of what was promised.
So, we really have to leave this place?
Yes. I've had enough of living with you. I don't want to see your faces again.
It's rare for Mom to be this angry, Delaney. You understand, right?
Well, that's true, but...
Hey, you. Your company has investors, and you don't own most of the shares, right?
What's that got to do with anything?
What if I take this evidence to the appropriate people? What do you think they'll say?
Don't play dirty. What have I done wrong?
That's right. I'm already doing my filial duty by marrying and living with my mother.
Filial duty. What you're doing is nothing but unfilial behavior. If anything, you're more like hyenas, always leeching off others. You can't continue living like this. Enough is enough.
Show some remorse. All you do is make excuses. Your time to act high and mighty is over.
Be grateful for the easy life you've had for this past month. Discovering what Ira was secretly doing at his company was a piece of cake for Noah. The threat of taking the evidence to the appropriate authorities made Delaney and Ira panic, yet they responded with defiance. However, when clearly rejected by us, Delaney and Ira reacted.
Wait a minute. If you go to the appropriate people, I'll be ousted as president if you reveal what I've done at the company.
And I won't be able to be the president's wife anymore. Please don't do that. Mom, big sis, please let us stay here. I'm begging you.
Me too. I promise not to be a bother. Please let us stay.
No way. This is Lisa's house. Even I'm living here courtesy of her. If you want to live in a spacious place, work hard and earn it yourself.
Well, I'm going to start preparing the report with the evidence I've gathered.
Delaney, you and Ira should fend for yourselves. Thus, Delaney and Ira were disowned not only by our family but also by all our relatives. Ira was ousted from his position as president by the shareholders and lost his job. The money he embezzled was left as a debt he had to repay. Delaney had quit her job when they got married, so both of them became unemployed. They struggled to find work, repeatedly failing interviews, and aiming for jobs with their ideal salaries proved difficult. They managed to find part-time jobs eventually, but the low wages barely covered rent and food expenses. Their life became a constant struggle, working short hours and barely making ends meet, without any chance to save money. As for me,
Lisa, look, Noah has brought cake again.
oh, I always tell him not to bring anything.
I bought it because I wanted some. But there's also your favorite strawberry cake.
If only Noah could be your husband.
Mom, what are you saying?
I don't mind.
Oh my. Take good care of Lisa, Noah.
Leave it to me.
Hey, you too. Since then, Noah and my mother have become surprisingly close, visiting even when I'm not around. They both love sweets, so they bond over magazines and TV shows, creating a natural rapport. They joke about marriage, but it might become reality. The thought strangely excites me. For now, I'm just happy spending lively moments together. I'm not sure where this will lead, but I hope we can continue this wonderful relationship. Meanwhile, the three of us spend our days filled with laughter and joy. If you enjoyed this video, we'd be thrilled if you subscribed to our channel. Subscribing means you'll receive notifications for new videos, keeping you in the loop with all our latest content. Your support is vital to our growth. Let's enjoy and grow together.